I will do a lot of things for my reviews, but I will not transform this. What is going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another video review. This time we're taking a look at Fans Toys FT-17 Hoodlum. And really quickly, let's take a quick look at the packaging. As you can see by the packaging, just a nice picture, hand-drawn picture of Hoodlum in his robot mode. Hoodlum up there, done in a very nice font, kind of Hot Rod-esque. Get it? Hot Rod-esque. Get it? Nothing? Okay, moving on. Bottom of the packaging, we just have another airbrush picture of Hot Rod Hoodlum in his vehicle mode. Top of the packaging, same airbrush picture there, FT-17. This side, Hoodlum. This side, Hoodlum. And on the back of the packaging, you just have your product shots, robot mode, vehicle mode, target master, along with a brief bio. If you want to read it, pause it, and you're done. And that's it for the packaging. Let's get him out of here and see what he looks like in hand. So here we have him out of the packaging, and let's go over what's included really quickly. You do get your obligatory collector card here. Nice thick cardstock, picture of Hoodlum on the front, product shots on the back, robot mode, alt mode, tech specs, and a very teeny tiny biography there. Need a magnifying glass to read that. There you have your collector card. Also included in the packaging are your instructions, which I had a hard time getting into these. Had to go to a couple videos. Shout out to Bobby Skullface and T-Man for helping me out with the transformation. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. So there's that. I'm going to go over some brief accessories really quickly, then I'll get into the big accessory. What you get are two guns done in a nice gray plastic with painted silver. Look really good. Very nice. And they're just, you know, updated versions of Hot Rod's guns, which can be stored on the car right here. There's one. And two. Flip that down. Voila. Unfortunately, there's no other storage for them that I can find, because so if you're using one, you can't use the other. So there is that. Also included in the packaging, you do get the saw blade here, which is done nice gray plastic, painted silver, a little bit of molded detail. The blade itself is a blue clear plastic with a silverish paint job on the outside. If you hit the light just right, you kind of get that blue plastic shining through the silver on the blade. It's a very thin coat, but looks very nice. Looks very good. Not really noticing a lot of paint blemishes on this one, but I hear that a bunch of people have been having paint issues all throughout. So, and here it is compared to the Takara version. Blade about seems to be about the same size. It's just this part's extended more, I think. Just a little bit, not much. So there you have that. Also included in the packaging is an alternate face here, which is a solid jawline and bone structure. This is more for Rodimus Prime. Excuse me. I just burped up eggs and it was delicious. Because I put little matzah inside. If you guys know what matzah is, it's just a giant cracker. But I digress. So I'll get into this when I get into robot mode there. And the big accessory that we have here is his target master. So let's move him off to the side. We spend a few minutes on this guy here. So here is the target master, Firebolt, or whatever you want to call him. And he's your typical Fans Toys target master. I mean, different head sculpt, different body sculpt, different leg sculpt, and everything. And he's pretty good. I've got some tolerance issues with the ball joints on this guy, but other than that, he's pretty solid. Let's get in close on that face sculpt here. Nice blue paint for the visor with a red paint for the mouth guard or piece right there. You can kind of make out lips. So there's that. You could use a spot of paint around him. just to kind of give him some more oomph. I mean, it looks very bland and boring, just the simple black and silver, but maybe some accents along the chest area or maybe in the hands, but it looks pretty good nonetheless. And the back cleans up very well. I like the fact that the handle tucks away in here and cleans it up. Not too kibbly. But yeah, it's pretty decent. Articulation-wise, the head can do a full 360. There's no upward or downward movement unless you want to get into transformation. Ball joint at the shoulders can do a full 360. Can go up there. Hinge at right at this joint, so it can go out that way and blorp. Double jointed elbows, you can get full bend that way, full bend that way, and this is a ball joint, so you can get swivel right there. No hand articulation, no waist articulation. Ball joint at the hips can go forward that far. Oh, and here's the problem: is you're rubbing plastic on plastic. Can only go back that far, and that's just due to the barrels here. But if you move them, you can go further back. But that just looks weird. Let's clean this up. Boom, boom. Outward movement, rubbing plastic on plastic. Oh, that just drives me crazy. But there you have that. Little bit of a swivel with that ball joint. There's a bend here, right above this ball joint right here. That's mainly for transformation purposes, but you can use that as a double bend knee if you wish. There you go. Ball joint to knee as well. Ugh. And the ball joints on my knees are really tight. This one's kind of loosened up a little bit, but you can actually tell that it's kind of pushing the plastic out on the side, so I may have to sand it down a little bit. But yeah, there's that. There is a ball joint at the feet here. You can get a little bit of bend, but this is stupid tight, and I don't want to force it because for some reason this ball joint feels like if I mess with it too much, I could wind up breaking the peg there, and I don't want to do that. So there is that for articulation. Let's get into some comparisons. Let's get him standing up properly here. Come on. There we go. Here he is next to Fans Toys Coot or Cups Target Master. Here he is next to Hasbro's Masterpiece Rodimus Prime Target Master. This is the US version. Here he is next to Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Fire Drive. And here he is next to a flash drive. Why? Because it's my channel. I can do whatever I want. And here he is next to everybody, just so you can get a better sense of what they look like together. So let's get him quickly transformed into his weapon mode. And here we have the Target Master in his weapon mode. It's a pretty nice looking weapon mode. Not very clean. There are some issues with, it would seem that, let me get this here, these points should plug into the bottom of the feet, but they don't. There's just not enough room, and you're going to overextend him, and kind of that's not going to be cool. So, and nothing really pegs together to kind of keep it, a uniform shape, and it's kind of a bummer. But you can do whatever you want with it. It'll be yours when you purchase it. But this is how it's supposed to look. And it's not too bad. I mean, the silver up here is very nice compared to the black down here. It's just a nice two-tone color. So let's just do some quick comparisons. Here he is next to Fans Toys Coot or Cups Target Master. Here he is next to the Takara Masterpiece Rodimus Prime Target Master. Here he is next to the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Fire Drive in his weapon mode. And he won't stand up, so that's all you're going to get, just like that. And there he is in weapon mode compared to a flash drive. And here he is next to all of them, so you have a better understanding of what he looks like compared to all of them. So there you go. So yeah, there he is in his little target mode, and there is a way to store him in on the vehicle. That same port right here that you used for these guns. There's a little nub right behind the handle here. If you flip that down, you are supposed to be able to, which the instructions don't show you, mind you. There's a little nub that can go in this port right here, but on mine, it's very difficult to get him in, but there you have him in his target master mode. With the slightest, well, it's actually in there pretty good. I've been having to fight with this thing because, let me see if I can get this here. If we can just focus, excuse me, on this area, the way the legs are here, as well as the handle and part right here, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's not a lot of clearance for this stuff to get in there. And so this thing can peg in securely. But it's pegged in there pretty securely right now. If I flip it upside down and give it a nice little shake, it's not coming out, but nonetheless, it's a very tight fit. Not a lot of room for error in this area. So there you have that. And that's it for the target master until we get into robot mode. So let's get into the vehicle mode, shall we? So let's get into this vehicle mode, and I do have my grievances with the vehicle mode. Not by the way it looks, the transformation. I'll get into that when I get into my final thoughts. But I want to point this out right now. Let's go over the look first. I mean, the look is fine. He's got some heft to him, got a lot of die cast in him. The silver engine part here is done very nicely. Nice little molded detail for the fan up here, as well as just, overall here. Nice paint all throughout this section here. Nice line work, nice pinstriping throughout. Nice chrome on this side, very smooth overall. Going to the back, got some thrusters back here, a little bit of molded detail on those, as well as up here. And let's go over that in a second. Okay. And the tires are nice and rubber. These are nicely silver plastic and all that. So rolls very well if you have everything transformed correctly. Grievance number one is these pegs right here. If you push them in too far, you're going to have the wheels angled in, and it's just sloppy work. I mean, that's just not good. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan whatsoever. And here's another grievance I have right here. There we go. This is just not the way it's supposed to be, and let's get more into that later on. Let's focus here. Focus. So, it's pretty good. Like I said, rolls very well. Nice blue plastic up here that does open. That's it. I mean, it's a car. I showed you the gimmick of everything plugging into the front, and that's it. I mean, not really a lot going on in vehicle mode. It's just I have my grievances with it, and let's get into some comparisons right now. For comparison, let's bring out the Titans Return hot rod here, just to give you an overall idea of what he looks like with a standard deluxe figure. There you have that. Take him out of the equation. Let's bring in the official Takara. This is the first one, not the Target Master one. This is MP Hot Rod. Let's see how these look together. Look pretty decent. So there you have that. and the recently re-release, reissue, whatever you want to call it, G1 Walmart exclusive Hot Rod. Makes me happy. You have no idea. I never had this as a kid, so I may do a video on the reissues later on, just to give you my opinion on them. Let me know if you want to see that. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you want my opinion on that. So, there you have that for a comparison. Moving right along with the comparisons, here he is next to Fans Toys Cup. Just give you an idea what they look like together. And they look good together. I mean, it's very movie accurate, both of them, the way they look. It's pretty good, I will say. And here he is next to the one he murdered, Optimus Prime, MP-10. MP-10, MP-10. I'm not getting the other ones. This one is fine. This one is good for me. Ugh. It's another video on that later, maybe. If you want to know, if you want my opinion, leave a comment in the comment section down below. But there he is next to MP-10. So that is it for the vehicle mode. Let's get into my grievances with the vehicle mode. Like I said before, this peg right here, to me, it seems like a flaw. There is a stopping point right here, but here's the stopping point, because let me just do this really quickly. You're supposed to, for transformation, you're supposed to push these in and out, and the stopping point for the vehicle mode is right here. If we get this back in there and we get it there, that's fine, but you can push it further because of the sliding portion right here, which is a big letdown in my department. Another grievance I have with this is nothing really tabs together well. How do I put this? There's pretty much the only thing holding these to the legs are two tabs, and getting those just right, so frustrating. So just I curse this thing. It is almost as bad as transforming the original Hasbro or Takara Rodimus Prime. You have to get everything just right, and that's how Fans Toys is, mind you. You have to get everything just right to get it to line up properly, and that is such an annoyance. There's no give, and if you feel like you're about to make headway, you sneeze and the thing falls apart in your hand. You have to go back to square one. I know people have been having problems with this thing scraping down here. I have not, thankfully, because I've been very careful to not, like right now, you're not supposed to push this way. You're supposed to keep it at this angle and rotate it like that. So thankfully, I'm not having issues there. The bottom is pretty clean. You can see the hands, but you can't see the head. You can tell what's what. That's not a big issue for me. I feel like this line right here is kind of an eyesore, and these things don't really stay, like there's nothing clicking in there, so it's easy just to bump it or something and it opens up, and there's this gap right here. Same on both sides. The chrome cleans up pretty good, except for these two little bits right here. But other than that, I mean, the overall vehicle mode is okay. It's just the transformation and the way things peg together just overly frustrates me. So, that being said, let's get him into robot mode and see what robot mode looks like. So here we have Hoodlum in his robot mode, and I'm going to save everything I have to say for the end. So let's get into the figure. So let's start off with the overall look of the figure. And he looks good. I like his proportions. The head sculpt is good. Let's get in close on that. Alright, so let's look at this face sculpt. And the face sculpt is nice. It's very Hot Rod. And if we bring in the other face here, that's very Rodimus Prime. Nice painted eyes right up here. Head crest is molded nicely. Got a little bit of gray plastic in there. Looks good. Looks good. The chest part here, kind of an eyesore for numerous reasons. This breakage right here, I think, is a major downfall for this, as well as this breakage right here. I think that's a big notch in the negative department. The fact that, you know, this piece right here is not cohesive with the rest of the chest, I think, to me, not very palate cleansing. The overall shape of the chest is nice. It's transitioned very nicely. It's very smooth, you know, to the hip area. It's very nicely done. Die-cast thighs, I believe. Yeah, die-cast here. Plastic legs. Plastic down here. Die-cast feet. I mean, again, it's Rodimus Prime, and he looks like he's wearing bell bottoms. As well as the arms here, the profile of the arms makes him look like he's wearing one of the pirate shirt almost. I'm going to say that. And that is a hindrance for him holding his weapons, what I'll get into a little bit later. Let's go over the articulation. The head is on a swivel. You can do a full 360. There's no upward or downward movement because you're going to unpeg it, which is, again, not good. Not good at all. The arms, we're going to be very careful because the slightest thing can completely disassemble this. So we're just going to cautiously hold this and do a full 360, and look at that. Oh, Fans Toys, you're killing me here. Let me clean this up and I'll be right back. Alright, let's try this again. The arms can do a full... Alright. Take my word for it, the arms cannot do a full 360. Just because of this getting in the way. I'm going to try to get through this review and not break this. And not get so frustrated with this that I'm going to wind up throwing it. So, you do have a swivel at the elbow here. You do get a little over 9-degree bend at the elbow, which is nice. The wrist can swivel, although these hinges on each side are... Be right back. Alrighty, we're back. So, where was I? The hands. The hinges here hinder the full rotation of the wrist, but you can rotate the wrist. Waist is on a very tight swivel, and there's no real... Be right back. Alright, we're back. There is a way to cheat an ab crunch, but I would not recommend it because this thing is so flimsy. The upper part here is so flimsy that I just wouldn't... Hang on, let me... Yeah, I wouldn't even bother. Skirts can move outwards. Eek. Legs can go forward about that far. Can go back about that far. Can go out pretty far as well. Be right back. And we're back. Alright. There is a swivel at the hip. Just below the hip, I should say. Over 9-degree bend at the knee. Be right back. And we're back. Oh, try not to breathe on this thing. The feet have a little bit of an anchor rocker, which is a really big letdown because Fans Toys Hydra didn't have that much of an ankle rocker, and I'm starting to sense a trend with them, and Fans Toys, you're letting me down big time. Feet can go forward, can go back, and then you have to worry about this thing back here coming unpegged. So there you have that. He can hold his weapon. Be right back. Alright, he can hold his weapons. They have the Masterpiece peg in hand. And here's one of my issues with the figure. And this is why I think having these giant bulges on top here is a bad idea, because it limits, like I said, like same thing in vehicle mode with the Target Master fitting on there. You don't have a lot of room, a lot of clearance here, and I think that's a big hindrance on this. The normal guns he holds just fine, but when we get into the Target Master, as you can see, again, there's not a lot of room here for error, and the clearance isn't that great, and it overall throws off the look of him holding it. So there you have that. As far as the saw part, we're going to get through this, people. We are going to get through this. Be right back. So like I was saying, for the saw hand connection thing, you're going to want to turn the fist so the fingers are facing upwards. This part right here goes underneath, and it's a really tight fit. I'm not going to force it in anymore, but there you go. There it is. That is frustrating beyond all hell. So there we have that. Be right back. Alright. There he is. So he does have a gimmick in robot mode, and that's if you take... It's just like on the Takara, the Masterpiece Hot Rod. He's got this visor right there, clear blue plastic. I don't think it's executed very well. It's such a light plastic that you can barely tell the color of it, and it's just not that great, in my opinion. The shape of it is cut very well. It's just the color of the plastic that I think is a big, huge letdown, because you can barely tell it's there. So, there you have that. So let's just put that back up. And since we're still focused on the head, to swap out the face here, which I'm not going to do. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm just not going to do it for fear of completely just making this thing go into dust. All you got to do is go on the back of the head. There's a screw right here. Unscrew it, swap them out, screws in there, and you're done. So there you have that. Let's get into some... Alrighty, let's get him situated and get into some comparison, shall we? Let's just adjust the camera like that. There we go. Alright, let's get into some comparisons. Here he is with the Hasbro Titans Return Deluxe Hot Rod. Here he is with the Hasbro, or not the Hasbro, the Takara Official MP Hot Rod. Here he is next to the Walmart reissue G1 Hot Rod. Here he is next to the Hasbro Masterpiece Rodimus Prime. Here he is next to Fans Toys Coot or Cup. Here he is next to his Target Master. And here he is next to the one he murdered, MP10 Optimus Prime. And here he is compared to with all the other Hot Rods and Rodimus Primes that I have, official and third party. So now that we have all the comparisons out of the way, let's get into the final thoughts. So for final thoughts for Fans Toys Hoodlum, not good, Fans Toys. You guys are taking a far step back here. This guy was teased years ago, and for them to release in 2019, you're not off to a good start. So many issues with this. How many times did I have to take a break and try to peg them together? There is absolutely nothing pegging in all this together. It is die cast chest with another die cast plate back here being held together by this. It is a terrible feat of engineering. Lack of ankle rocker, lack of head articulation. The arms and the shoulders are so stiff, it's almost impossible to move them without breaking everything apart. My biggest gripe with this is the chest. Let me put him off to the side and let me show you. Let me just do this and then I'll transform him back. But like I said, if you can look in here, there is absolutely nothing holding him together. This up here is die cast and this is die cast. 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 coats of paint on each one. And then you just gotta put it like this and pray that these 2 plastic clips hold this together. When you move this up, and it doesn't always, because these things just flop apart. Like if there was something to peg in the arms to this piece, I think that would have been great. If there was something to kind of sandwich these together, to peg this all together, I think that would be great. But you see how much of a gap that is? That is ridiculous. And then these 2 black clips are the only thing holding these 2 pieces of die cast, along with all of this plastic attached to it, together. And you just pray that when you get it together, that this comes up nicely, and there. And that's another issue. The fact that this doesn't clip in at all. It's just a matter of finagling these double hinges back here to get it in there and to get the head up right, just so you don't break the sculpt. And it's not done well. I like the fact that he's got the rubber tires, but they don't stay on very well. There's been numerous times when I've been transforming him or messing around with him that the wheels started coming off and I've had to put them back on. And while we're on the subject of wheels, these, like I said earlier, these tabs, it's just a bad spot of engineering, I believe. The things that he has got going good for him, it's not a lot. The look of him is okay at best. He looks like Hot Rod. The colors match the G1 a little bit. Could have been a little bit darker. But if we move him aside and bring in the Takara MP Hot Rod. Let's talk about this for a second here. If there was a way to somehow mash these up, take the height from, I think the height for Fans Toys is in its favor. I think the engineering for the Takara is in its favor. One thing that Fans Toys has good going for it is the slimness of the kibble in the back, whereas the Takara has a giant backpack. I think the colors on the Fans Toys Hoodlum, better palette cleanser. The profile of Fans Toys Hoodlum, much better than the official Takara. I like the Target Master for Hoodlum more so than the Target Master for the Hasbro Masterpiece Rodimus Prime. I wish that this had more paint, but it's a simple fix that I can do myself. So putting Takara aside and going back to Fans Toys here, how do I overall think about this figure? In my opinion, it's not good. This gets a big fat F for me. This probably could have gotten a better grade if A, they didn't announce this years ago and we were so excited for it and got all hyped up for it, and then we got this. If this would have made 1 or 2 more passes through engineering and had people actually look at this and go, that's not good, this isn't good, let's try this again, it could have been better. And that's my opinion on Fans Toys Hoodlum. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Link for everything will be in the description down below. I do have a PayPal as well. Throw me a couple bucks if you want to. If not, no big deal. Link for that will be in the description as well. This is S.L.B, and this has been my review of Fans Toys FT-17 Hoodlum. And this is S.L.B saying, my childhood hates me. So here we hear. Screw you for making me transform you. Ugh. Let's get this dog here. Okay. Whew. Thought I chipped the paint for a second.